Alright, good evening everyone. So at last we've got some clear skies here in Cyprus after what seems like an eternity. So I've just been out in the dome setting up the RASA. I was also doing a collimation check on it because I didn't think it was out much, but there were certainly indications in some of the previous subs when doing some tests that it was out, and also Max Pilot sequence image, whatever it's called, was showing that there was a collimation error. But I swapped over the cameras and I defocused on a star tonight, and there doesn't appear to be a collimation issue, which is good. So I was dreading having to try that, setting that tilt plate on the front of the RASA there. It's something I haven't done before, and that's certainly something I didn't want to start messing around with. So anyway, I got that up and running, got the polar alignments done on both the rigs. So internally in the dome, which is the screen on the right of the laptop one, that's the RASA 11 with an IDAS MBZ UHS filter in it, sitting on top of the CGX. And on the left of the laptop 2, that is the Lunt LS80 with the night setup on it. It's running the ASI533, and the RASA's got the ASI2600, both one-shot colour cameras. And things are looking alright so far. So what you can see on the screen there, these are 2-minute subs for the Lunt scope. I'm currently running, where does it say, I think it was 120-second exposures and a gain of 120, I think it was, where we are, yeah, gain of 120 and an offset of 10. And on the RASA I'm running a gain of 75 with an offset of 10, and again 2-minute exposures there. We can see from the imaging things are looking not too bad. I decided to set them both up on the M81 and M82 just so I could get a comparison between the two setups. For the Lunt scope, I'm not quite sure if I've got the correct back focus set up on it yet. I am running a 0.8 Starfield reducer flattener in there, and I did try to follow its setup instructions for the back focus, where you've got to take your normal 55mm back focus and subtract that from 64.87, I think it is, millimeters, and then adjust the Starfield reducer. It's got a sliding scale on it for setting a distance on it, but when I did that previously, there were certainly indications that the back focus wasn't long enough. So I've thrown another 10mm spacer in there and cranked out the adjustment on the Starfield, and we'll just see how that sits. But it's certainly looking better than it was previously. And on the RASA, it's looking not too bad at all. You can see here with 2-minute subs and that IDAS filter in there that we're starting to see obviously all the spiral arms of Bode's Galaxy. We've got a nice bit of colour definition as well in the Cigar Galaxy. Likewise, the filter that I'm running in the Lunt setup is a Bode UHC-S, so we can see the difference straight away on a 2-minute exposure between the two subs. If we look into Bode's, we can see there's a lot more detail from the RASA, as you'd expect, an 11-inch running f2.2. So things are looking good so far, and tonight M81 and M82 should be up all night. We're not expecting the moon to rise until I think it's around about 3 AM. So I'm just going to leave this to run all through the night until the target drops below 30 degrees of altitude. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully the clouds will stay away. It's meant to be clear for the next couple of nights. So down at the bottom of the screen you can see all the cameras set up around the observatory and inside the observatory. 3 of them have got the IR night mode turned off, and the ones that you can see visible is inside with the night mode turned off, but I'll turn that off just shortly. I've also installed the RTSP plugin into Nina and got the cameras set up on there as well, so I was just testing everything's working. And what I've also done, I released the software for the USB SQM meter server, so it's currently running on Obbo Laptop 1, and here we can see the blue and red line. That is the magnitude per arc second squared, the light quality or the sky darkness, and which is currently coming in a Bortle 6 and an NELM of 5.12, and you can see the trend coming up there. I would have expected that to potentially just keep improving over the next couple of hours. Normally I can get it around about 19.8 through to 20.1 for a typical evening, but at the moment it's still sitting a little bit bright there, so we'll see how that calms down. I have had the sky quality meter in and out while I've been testing the software up in the office, so there's maybe just been a slight change in position inside the enclosure that the USB SQM sits in. And then over on Nina, both the setups are talking through the weather and the serial SQM observing, so they're both recording that data. So again, I'm just doing an extended test on that software. I did do a release update yesterday. I fixed a few bugs in it, some minor things, and changed how the trending was working. And so if we go across to equipment, weather, and again you can see the SQM reading and the unit temperature. Other than that, the guiding, it appears to be behaving itself at the moment. If we just go across to the guider, we're getting a total error on the Lunt setup, so that's outside the dome, 0.81 arc seconds, and over on the RASA, it's currently sitting at 0.74. Now I did have issues with guiding in the last few attempts that I've tried just playing around and things. It still wouldn't calibrate using PhD setup directly, so the RASA is currently using an ST4 cable, and that seems to be working fine, so I still don't know what's going on with PhD2. I checked all the settings and I've checked the CPWI settings and everything, and it all appears to be okay, so it's maybe just needing the software uninstalled, all the settings cleared out, and then reinstalling just to see if I can recover that. But seeing as it's behaving itself at the moment with the ST4 cable, I've decided just to leave that in for this evening. Alright, so I don't think there's anything else to say at the moment. Hopefully this will go smoothly. I haven't had a lot of luck lately with the weather, and I haven't done a lot of imaging at all over the last couple of months, just with weather and being travelling. In fact, it's probably longer than a couple of months now, so a bit out of sorts with things, and we'll see how we go on when this finishes during the night. Alright, so I'll catch you later, hopefully once this all packs up during the night and behaves itself. So we'll speak to you soon. Alright, so just a quick update on where we are. I just came to check on both the setups, and unfortunately the RASA setup didn't have a calibration for the opposite side of the pier after it did its meridian flip, so it had wandered off and done its own thing, and that resulted in losing around about 14 frames. So here we can see this is the pre-meridian flip, and then yeah, we did the meridian flip. You can see here is a pre-flip, so Bode's on the left, Cigar's on the right. The flip occurred and we can see the Cigar's now on the left and Bode's is on the right, and guiding's been lost. So all these frames have been lost. So I stopped PhD, forced a calibration for that side of the pier, and things have settled down again, and now we can see everything seems to be holding steady. And if we check guiding, we're holding a total error of around about 1 arc second at the minute. So hopefully that's that problem resolved, and we'll continue to leave it to do its thing and see what happens. Alright, catch you later. Alright, so here we are, it's now the next morning. It's 10:15, I'm just out of bed and came to check on everything. So looking at the cameras, we can see all the scopes, or both the scopes, have gone back to the home position, parked themselves, and the dome has successfully closed and parked, although looking at the feed, it looks like it's just missed its charging contacts by about a couple of degrees, if that. And this is one of the reasons why in a future mod I want to extend these metal plates for the battery contacts. As I said in the video when I was installing this, that these little metal brackets were just temporary. So yeah, I want to put longer plates that come off the end, so we don't have that problem. But at least the shutter closed this time, which is progress. And on the other scope, everything looks alright. Oops, windy outside this morning, so no issues there. Alright, so if we look at Nina on the Obo Laptop 2, we can see we've got a whole bunch of PhD warnings came in from 224 onwards, and on Obo Laptop 1, which is the RASA, we had similar warnings coming in from 2:15, so I suspect this was clouds coming in. The guiding appears to have behaved early on in the evening, maybe a couple of wobbles. So we'll just have a look at the subs now. So in total on the RASA, we've captured 179 exposures, and I know that I've lost 14, I think it was, due to the post-meridian flip guiding not being calibrated. So if we start looking at the subs from back at 2 o'clock, just to see what we can see with regards to the warnings that came up on PhD, and yeah, we can start to see clouds thickening up and passing through. So that'll explain why PhD got a bit upset. Alright, so that's the RASA images, and I'll have to filter through them and see which ones we're going to dump. But the earlier ones, let's go back to around about midnight just to see what we've got there. 21, 22, 23, so here we go, midnight. Yeah, we haven't got anything too bad there. Stars look reasonable enough. So hopefully when I take some flats this morning, I'll be able to get rid of this vignetting. On the Lunt LS80, the outdoor rig, we captured 198 images. Again, they're 2 minutes long. So if we check from 2 o'clock this morning, these ones already look a bit fainter, so there's maybe a high level cloud that the scope's struggling with. So yeah, the images are disappearing out. Alright, so what I'm going to do now next is I'm going to head over to the observatory and grab a set of flats on each of the rigs. So I'll catch you in a bit. Alright, so I made a rip-roaring you-know-what of that. Forgot to turn the mics on again after being outside, and did a whole piece on the processing I was going through and which routines I was following and blah blah blah. And anyway, so here we are at the end. Didn't go as well as I thought. Still have some issues with the workflows and the data gathering. But anyway, here's the 3 images. So why is there 3? Obviously I took the 2 images from the Lunt and the RASA, but just for reference I also put up the image here from a couple of years ago when I used the 8-inch Newtonian with a Z50 mirrorless camera. So on the top left is the Z50 and the 8-inch Newt, the top right is the Lunt, and the bottom there is the RASA. So it's still a big improvement on where I was 2 years ago, or however long it is, and certainly seeing more detail coming out around the spiral, particularly on the RASA. I'm still not happy with obviously my workflows. Processing is never a strong point of mine, and it's something I just really need to focus on. But certainly there's improvement. Other comments to make, yeah, the weather wasn't the greatest. Clearly there was a high level cloud that was rolling in through the evening and sort of destroyed and washed out a lot of the subs, and that was particularly noticeable in the Lunt. It really struggled, particularly on the Cigar, to pull out any detail in there. And as I mentioned at the start, I'm still not 100% convinced I've got the back focus right yet on that telescope. So that's another area just to continue to try and tune. On the RASA, yeah, still a bit noisy. Again, it's down to predominantly the workflow, I think. But yeah, it was good to be back out imaging again after such a long gap. And unfortunately, the forecast was meant to be clear skies for tonight and tomorrow. However, going by what I'm seeing out the window now and what came in last night, I think those forecasts are wrong. And in fact, I've never checked clear outside to see what the latest update is. And well, it still says it's clear. Here you can see it still says it's clear tonight, but I'm not holding out much hope. So anyway, that's the end of another semi-successful evening. Certainly the guiding, the meridian flips and the scopes were doing as they should do, apart from that one small upset with the post-meridian on the RASA. But I've still got to fix, obviously, as I've said, that RASA unit, that RASA setup is currently running with an SD4 cable. So I really need to try and get to the bottom of what's going on there with PhD2, that it's not going directly. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see what we excuse me. We'll see what we do in the next video. So catch us later, and clear skies.